So oversaturation in CSGO is been a topic of discussion around the esports community, and I will say, guys, it's a big topic for me because I feel that CSGO esports, at least, is very oversaturated at this point. It just feels like there's too many tournaments. There's like a tournament every week, and that's why I've been saying I would love to see CSGO in a franchise format similar to Overwatch, League of Legends, and Call of Duty, because it's a great esport, but I just think there needs to be more of a structure, like a regular season, playoffs, championship. And there's an article that came out, guys, from Dexterdo, and of course, Hector Rodriguez, who is, of course, the Optic Gaming, founder, or one of the co-founders, or, owners of the team. Now he is, of course, one of the co-owners of Energy. He sat down, though, with the Counter-Strike team that was a part of Optic, and he was kind of talking about the oversaturation within Counter-Strike, at least at this point. And so it says, members of the original Optic Gaming CSGO roster have explained why the competitive scene is oversaturated and how it is potentially damaging CSGO's competitive landscape. So Will Rush and Tarek, Naf, and of course Daps appeared on Hex's Eavesdrop podcast on June 10th. Rush was not on the original Optic roster, but features in the podcast regardless. They discussed many aspects of competitive Counter-Strike, including the potential of franchising and the likelihood of Valve incorporating crowdfunding into the competitive scene in a similar manner to Dota 2. However, a key topic of discussion was the unhealthy and oversaturated nature of the scene at present. The discussion was brought about by Hex, who talked about their famous E-League victory, stated, "We were only able to enjoy our trophy for 1 week. That's not healthy. It can't be healthy." He went on to suggest that more successful teams like Astralis will benefit from the high frequency of tournaments, but the less dominant teams in the wider professional scene may suffer because of it. "That's a problem for sure," Rush quickly agreed. "No one really cares about these tournaments except for the majors, I feel like. Majors are what matters most. These random dream hacks and stuff like that, I like going to them, but I feel like to the fans it doesn't matter that much." On a similar note, Tarek agreed that certain games lose their appeal because they occur so frequently due to the high volume of tournaments. There's prestigious events out there, he started, but it does get old seeing like Liquid versus Cloud9 or Fnatic versus FaZe. Like, you see it all the time. However, he did say that the smaller tournaments can be used to build confidence. Daps was more hesitant to agree, saying that he felt the major tournaments have fallen down a little bit in scale compared to other tournaments because every tournament is big. He suggested that an increase in prize money and ensuring all the major teams attend could stop people losing interest. Astralis, one of the most successful rosters of all time, are an example of a team who have recently skipped tournaments for varying reasons. Naf was the final member to give his opinion, stating that the high frequency of tournament can exacerbate roster issues. C9's been going through roster problems, he said. There's no time to fix them. Rush, who currently plays for Cloud9, agreed, saying that before Miami, they had 4 days to prepare with the new roster. However, he did say that as a professional player, it is hard to say no and skip events, particularly with the draw of prize money. While CSGO certainly has one of the largest esports fan bases, there is clearly concern that interest could be lost due to the high frequency of tournaments and the oversaturated nature of competition. And guys, I got to agree with what these guys are saying here regarding the oversaturation that is CSGO right now in esports. I mean, there are just so many tournaments that it really is starting to hurt the esport, in my personal opinion, because there's just a high frequency of tournaments. And it just kind of feels like there's too many tournaments. I mean, just clearly too many tournaments going on like a weekly basis. And this is why I lost interest. And I know Hex is another person who lost interest in this. I love the UFC, and Hector also has loved the UFC in the past. But the problem is they have matches so many times. They have so many cards and so many different matches in the UFC that it is starting, it's hard to keep up with. And that's the same thing with CSGO. It's hard to keep up with. And that's why I feel like a structure, like a regular season, a playoffs, and a championship that goes throughout the year would be just much better for CSGO. And that's just my personal opinion on it. And because I do feel like it's not healthy that, okay, you just won a tournament, now you gotta, a few days later, you gotta get ready to leave to go to another tournament. That just isn't good. There's a burnout effect. I know a lot of the teams, some of them will not go to those tournaments or every tournament like that of Astralis, but I gotta say that, yeah, it doesn't feel healthy, but at the same exact time, it just feels like there's going to be a significant burnout effect for these players over time. And I just think that it's going to be very negative how this all ends up if they don't change things at some point or another. And I'm sure there's going to be change coming. I trust Valve in that way. But, at this point, it just feels like they want to pump out as many tournaments as possible. And I understand it to a degree, but at the same time, I do think that there needs to be change.